Today's breaking news edition of the Cowboys Report is made possible by Roan. You can get 20% off your order, including polos like the one I am wearing today, by going to roan.com/chatsports and using promo code chatsports. Tell you more about them after the news of the day. It is the third Cowboys Report video of the day. Hopefully we get a push. Pretty sure we will on YouTube. The Cowboys are signing not one, not two, but three different players after they worked out 4 today. Apologies to Kevin Strong, I guess, for not being good enough to make the cut following today's workout. When Cowboys news hits, we have you covered. Even if that means I do not pick up baby Olivia on time. So, sorry, Mom, you get to take her a little bit longer, but you love her, so it's fine. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/@CowboysTV. 3 players have signed. It is linebacker Darius Harris, most recently of the Kansas City Chiefs. Linebacker Nick Vigil, most recently of the Minnesota Vikings, his second stint there, by the way. And also defensive tackle Albert Huggins. Now, we will spend some time and break down all 3 of these guys. Both Harris and Vigil have solid size. They're in that 6'2", 6'2.5", 230s, mid to upper 230s. Albert Huggins, I think, is still kind of more of a 3-technique body who plays a bit more like a 1-technique, which is probably something this team kind of still needed. The biggest thing, and I'll go more in depth on this in a moment, but the biggest thing I like about signing, you're signing random players, Tom. Why do you care? This isn't CeeDee Lamb. This isn't Justin Simmons. You're right. It's not. But this team, for the first time in what feels like a long time to me, looked at the back of their roster and said, it's not good enough. They are not a team that does this stuff, that shuffles out players at the back end of the roster. That's what this signing is. That's noteworthy to me. These guys might not make the team. That's okay. Dallas looked at the back end and said, nope, this isn't good enough. Instead of just saying, well, we like our guys, they brought in new ones. And I'll give them some credit for that. So I want you guys to grade the signings here. A, B, C, D, or F. Honest grades are fine. Again, combine them all into one grade as opposed to trying to grade them all individually. That's a little bit complicated. Grade the signing. A, B, C, D, or F at the pinned comment. Look, again, these are not big household names. I don't think this fixes your defensive tackle need. I think you're actually in okay shape at linebacker. Even signing 2 guys, I was a little surprised they did that. Maybe there's a secret unknown injury we don't know about, and that's a factor in these things. But I do think adding players was needed. Bodies were needed. Cowboys have that. So let's spend some time on the non-linebacker. That is Albert Huggins. The production certainly does not pop off the page. And frankly, why would it? That's not his type of role. I have gone back and I have consulted my 2019 NFL Draft scouting notes for Albert Huggins. I had like a 6th, 7th round grade on him. He's listed, by the way, almost 6'3", about 305. So he's not the biggest guy, but he does play pretty big. Big guy, below average athlete, stronger than fast. He was a part-time starter at Clemson. Now, he would have started at almost every other college football program, but Clemson had these guys named Christian Wilkins and Dexter Lawrence, who you may have heard of, that were ahead of him. The burst was not great for me. He's long arm, powerful plugger, isn't rangy mover, but the raw strength to develop into a solid NFL run defender. I had him as a 1-tech, and maybe 1-tech in a 3-techniques body. He is a career journeyman, UDFA for Houston. Went to Philly, Patriots, Philly, Lions, Vikings, Lions, Saints for several years where he played some, and the Falcons when that DC went over to Atlanta. The very, very brief overlap in Minnesota in 2020. He lasted about a month. I think the Cowboys needed DT help. I still want defensive tackle help. Don't get me wrong. I don't think this is enough. I don't think this is enough of a depth option. I am not satisfied with just Albert Huggins coming in. But this team needed bodies. At least they're taking steps in the right direction to add bodies. I'll put him at 3-technique for now. Still, I'd like to find one more rotational pass rusher, if you can, on the interior. Today's show is made possible by Roan. Look, the mail closet was due for a radical reinvention, much like the Cowboys' approach to salary cap spending. But Roan has actually stepped up to the challenge. The Commuter Collection is the most comfortable, breathable, and flexible set of products known to man, and here's why. They have something for every occasion, whether it's pants, dress shirts, quarter zips, polos, blazers, everything else in between. They work as individual pieces and, of course, work seamlessly together. You've got signature 4-way stretch fabric, wrinkle release technology, and gold fusion anti-odor technology. The Commuter Collection can get you through any workday and straight into whatever comes next. Head to roan.com/chatsports and use code chatsports to save 20% off your entire order. That's 20% off your entire order when you head to RHONE.com/chatsports and use code chatsports. Find your corner office comfort today with Roan. Let's go now to Darius Harris, who had spent several years with the Chiefs and also the Raiders, which was kind of funny. Undrafted free agent back in 2019. If you're wondering, Tom, do you have any draft notes on Darius Harris from 2019? Guess what, folks? I do. To be honest, I thought I didn't have them. I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong here, I feel like the Cowboys had him for a pre-draft visit or something. Because I had to double check that. Here are my notes. Good athlete for his size. Likes to chase and hit. Can blitz. Good. Fits Mike Zimmer. Good production at Middle Tennessee. 97 tackles, 12 TFLs, 5 sacks. Added 40 pounds since high school. He was like under 200 pounds there. Instincts were questionable for me. I had him as a backup linebacker at a few spots. Special teams, thanks to motor. I'd say I had him as a late 7th/UDFA. Not really on anyone's radar. Over-aggressive nature dents his productivity, but he's a physical take-on player with consistent play speed. Okay, he exists. God, I really feel like maybe he was a Cowboys pre-draft visit, and that's the only reason I knew about him, because they like those Middle Tennessee boys. Chiefs for several years, very briefly on the Raiders, 11 days and practice squad, then picked back up by the Chiefs. Technically was a Super Bowl champion. He has multiple Super Bowls with Kansas City, which is kind of fun. Nick Vigil, though, is the name that I am most intrigued by. Now, he didn't do a lot last year for Minnesota, but this is a 30-year-old, soon-to-be 31-year-old linebacker who has ties to 2 different coaches on this roster. First up, Paul Gunther with the Bengals. He was there in Cincinnati from 2016 to 2019. He also very, very briefly overlapped with Mike Zimmer in Minnesota in 2021, his final year with the Vikings. So he knows both of those coaches, and I think there was at least some level of influence of like, yes, we will do this. Vigil was actually a 3rd-round pick in Cincinnati in 2016. He did have a 100-plus tackle season back in 2019. He started every game for them and then got picked up by the Chargers, played 15 games, got cut, was kind of a rotation piece. Good year in Minnesota in 2021. You see his stats up there. Has battled injuries over the last 2 seasons. Profiles as a Sam, that strong side linebacker. He is the younger brother, by the way, of former NFL linebacker Zach Vigil, if you remember him from his days with Washington. So Cowboys linebacker depth chart now sits like this. A lot of bodies on there. Something has to change. More on that in a little bit. I think Vigil and Harris probably both profile as strong side linebackers. Cowboys are going to carry 5, not including Micah Parsons, maybe 6. So there is 1 or 2 spots up for grabs behind Kendricks, Overshown, and Damone Clark. So be honest with me, folks. How many of these players make the Cowboys roster? Sound off for me in the comment section of today's show. Let me know how many Cowboys players make the roster. So the 3 players signed, Darius Harris, Nick Vigil, Albert Huggins. We were going to ask who was going to get cut. Well, now we know. Literally, as we're filming this, not more than a minute ago, we have the transaction moves. The Cowboys were maxed out on roster spots. They had to free up 3 of them. One of them, they put Sam Williams on injured reserve. That was a no-brainer. They have also now formally put CeeDee Lamb on the reserve did not report list. They had not done that previously. And the one player waived was Byron Vaughns. So we're not going to change the linebacker depth chart. It's too late for that. But Byron Vaughns has been released by the Cowboys. Sam Williams goes to IR. CeeDee Lamb put on the reserve did not report list. Hopefully Lamb signs soon, and that's not an issue, but I think that's more of a temporary transactional move. We'll have more Cowboys videos for you here on the channel. Hit that sub button so you don't miss out.